And we're live! Welcome, Pathfinders, to Dustin Knight's Infiknight Reviews, where I'll be reviewing the last week or two of amazing Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite products. Tonight on the schedule, we have Lost Omen Ancestries Dragonkin, Bare Essentials, the Guncaller, the Primalist from Novel Options Primal Illusions, and if I have time, I do kind of want to show off a couple of my own products that came out this week, but I'm going to save that for the very end, because this show is about showing off the community's work, not necessarily my own. So let's get right to it. First of all, we have Lost Omen Ancestries Dragonkin by the talented Paizo developer Luis Loza. This is a heritage, so you could apply it to an existing ancestry. It includes tons of information on this ancestry's culture through different parts of the Lost Omen setting, what continents you could be from, what these ancestries are like, what this heritage is like. The heritage itself, I gotta say, I love this heritage. It does kind of push the power level of heritages a little higher, but only, in my opinion, up to the point of the power level of the ancestries from Mwangi Expanse, which is where they need to be. Because I gotta admit it, with the heritages that Paizo has published thus so far, I tend to look at them as like, do I really want to give up my heritage ability for dark vision? This is way above and beyond that, and I love it. I don't think it's broken. I think it's balanced. I love it a lot. So first of all, the heritage offers you Dragon's Breath. This gives you a breath weapon. Level 1, it just does 1d4. It levels up as you go along. The breath weapon is, of course, based on your draconic heritage. They give you some guidelines for if it already has a breath weapon, use that. If it doesn't, you just blow out air, or you blow out the energy of whatever the dragon would be. Talk to your GM about it. It scales as you level. Level 3 and every 2 levels are after, you get an extra d4 of damage. It could either be a 30-foot line or a 15-foot cone. And you could, of course, power it up with feats, which, that's awesome. That's great. You have a single first-level feat that just lets you choose some kind of natural weapon that you want, be it a claw, tail, or jaw strike, and then you can take it again to get additional strikes. They have the standard lore feats. One thing I love here is they did put in Draconic Scales, which lets you effectively have a natural armor on yourself that you can apply runes to, and I love that a lot. Of course, they do have the Senses feat if you do want that dark vision. They have an additional Senses feat that lets you sense gold or other valuable items, which I think is really, really cool. I'm all for that. Unique senses is for players is really neat, really fun. The first feat that you'll get for energizing breath weapons makes it so you could spend an action before you use your breath weapon in order to make it stronger, doing an additional damage per level. Which when I first read that, I thought, why don't you just have it do d6s instead, or is it damage per die? Damage per level. And at first I was like, maybe you should just have it do d6s, but then as you read the additional feats and realize that stacks with this, you could totally see why this is better, and it's a mighty good option. You have a tree of feats to get flight. You can kind of figure how that starts. Short bursts into or slow fall into short bursts into limited flight into unlimited flight. Those armaments that you get could do additional damage. You get your critical weapon specializations with them, so on and so forth. They have a Draconic Reflection ability. It's a reaction that once per day gives you some physical resistance. They have some Draconic Magic feats that give you some first and second level spells you could use once per day. Then, of course, the really cool shit is at level 17, where you get Form of the Dragon as an innate ability, and you get Draconic Transformation, which is not just a form of the dragon. It's like you are a real, true Dragonkin. You get a ritual that you could cast once a week that makes you enlarge for the remainder of the week, which I love how that's done rather than just making you large, because not all adventurers want you to be large, and being able to size shift like that on a weekly basis is really useful. Additionally, it gives you additional hit points to your maximum hit points, I believe equal to your level, additional 1 per level. Or you can take Mighty Breath and actually have a big, powerful breath. Love the intimidation builds you can do with this, as it gives you intimidating glare plus additional bonuses as a feat that then eventually levels into frightful aura. You actually get your own frightful aura, so when people are around you, not allies, when enemies are around you, they'll actually be totally scared of you. There's a lot of other really cool options in here. You should really check it out. It's totally worth it. The production value is incredible. The artwork is amazing. I absolutely love it. You should totally check it out. It is Dragonkin, Lost Omen Ancestries. I think it is currently the #1 Pathfinder Infinite product being sold. If not, it definitely should be. It was earlier when I checked, and it definitely still should be because it is fantastic. Totally worth it, and I love it, and I fully encourage any of my players who might be watching this to ask me to use it in the campaign because I think it's awesome. There's a lot you can do with it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check out Novel Options Primal Illusion again. These books are so big for, especially for how much they are, and there's so much good content in it that I did have to split this up into 2 reviews. So last time we checked out The Mentalist, which is kind of it's kind of like a mesmerist, but it wants to be in the front line. A little bit of Slayer, a little bit of mesmerist, a little bit of swashbuckler. Today, though, we are going to check out the Primalist. So my initial reaction was that, I gotta be honest, not too big of a fan of the Primalist. I like it. I like where it's going. But I almost feel like it could have just been an archetype for the Magus. Let me get to it a little bit more. There is stuff here. If you want this kind of an option, this is a way to do it. And there is currently no way to do what this class does in Pathfinder 2. So it does fill a niche, which is great. You are effectively kind of a primal magus is the best way to put it. You are totally a primal magus. You get 3 options. One gives you an animal companion. One lets you get shifter claws, kind of like the shifter from first edition. The natural weapons that you can infuse with nature to effectively do a spell strike with them with your primal list. The other lets you change the elements of your next cast spell, and gives you a spell strike-like ability where you channel spells into your claws or teeth and do a combined attack with a spell that does not require an attack roll on the second one. Shifter, you do have to have a attack roll. Circle of Elements, you do not have to have an attack roll. And there's a whole page of guidelines on how that works with area of effect spells like Wall of Fire, Burning Hands, Cones. Effectively, you're pretty much hitting the same person that you target. If it has a burst and there happens to be other people around, hey, you do get some bonus damage off that. But so that was balanced well. And like I said, if you want to do this is the best way to do it. The 2 little minor complaints I'm going to have about this, and if I was GMing for a Primalist, I would probably adjust this a little bit for them. Is first with the shifter, the claws only last until the end of the strike, which I don't think is balanced well. I think they could keep their claws out and they would be just fine. You could take 2 feats, a 1st and a 4th level feat, to get it forever. I think that's a little too harsh. I think they're going to want those feats for additional things, if anything, just to archetype into something so that they could get a little more oomph. Because whether or not they want to go more spellcastery or more martially is, to me, probably going to be dependent on the archetype that they take. Which, that's not the best thing to hear when you're reviewing a class. You want to hear about what they have to offer outside of that. But there's some things in here that, like the Familiar, that it's nice that it's here, but I think most people who take this are going to want to look into getting more oomph with their magic or more oomph with their martial abilities. If they wanted a pet, they'd take the Circle of Animals. Which then Circle of Animals feels a little out there, like all the others are about spell striking, but not Circle of Animals. So it does need a little bit more tweaking if you want to do this just right. I think the best way they could have gone with this was to make the Circle of Elements exactly like Spell Strike, including attacks that have attack rolls, and then make the shifter more like this company released a kind of an Inquisitor that buffs itself when it strikes. I thought that was really cool, and I would love to see that for their Circle of Shifter ability. But I'm being a little panicky now. To be honest, this is a cool class, and this book is still way worth it because there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I still love the Mentalist, and there's so many neat spells and champion class options and so many cool class options in this. So many great spells and feats and items in this. You should pick this up, but not too big of a fan of the Primalist, just needs a little bit of adjustments. Now, we will look on to Guncaller, a gun-touting summoner class archetype by Sasha Lauren R. Harving. Alright, so this class here, it's a class archetype for the summoner. It lets you use a gun. It lets you give a gun to your... It lets you replace a natural attack on your Eidolon with a gun. You get to choose what that means. Like, it could be like a cobra that spits venom. The spit would be considered the gun. It could be your animal shoots fireballs, shoots lasers out of their eyes. It's some kind of range natural attack. You got to figure out. You get to flavor it yourself. It gives you 4 different templates, 4 different types of... It balances the reload time with the damage, with additional weapon traits thrown in there. So you get 4 balanced damage types you get to choose from when you're determining the type of damage that you're dealing with your ranged attack. It will be doing bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. So you're probably not going to choose lasers unless you want slashing lasers. It'll probably be... spinning bullets, or it'll have a gun arm, or it depends on what kind of Eidolon you have, honestly. It could be like a dragon that shoots shards out of its mouth, or it could just be a construct Eidolon or an arbiter Eidolon that is literally has a gun arm. It's entirely up to you. It does always have reload, even if it's natural, which I actually found that really cool. The idea that, you're not going to be able to shoot every round, but that's fine because reload. And that brings me to my favorite feat from this is actually the, here it is, the planar shootout? Yes, planar shootout. It's a single action that gives your Eidolon quickened 1 for 1 minute in a frenzy. And during that minute, that quicken can only be used for reload. I found that really cool. I like that a lot. A lot. I think that really helps balance out the high reload actions, and it also feels very summonery. I like that a lot. I know it's one of the more subtle ones. It's not as fun as, say, Scatter Shredder, where the scatter weapon bypasses some limited resistance that some enemies might have, or... Guncaller training actually gives you the simple weapon expertise at level 11 and expert in martial firearms. I mean, the other ones are more exciting, definitely, especially if you want to shoot out with your Eidolon. This definitely looks really fun for a sniper duo if you're doing free archetype. Whether or not you're doing free archetype, I would totally consider this with a sniping duo if your GM lets you use your Eidolon as your lookout. That way you don't have to have another PC. I mean, if you want a PC in the party who wants to be your lookout, awesome, that's great. A lot of cool character interaction there. But sometimes you won't find one, and that's okay, because now you can take Guncaller with Sniping Duo and have your Eidolon be your lookout. Fabulous. Oh, my chat is not displaying on my page. We do have people talking. Oh boy, good evening. Is it Fox time? Howdy. Primalist was difficult for me to write. Yeah, Nature Mage is... I gotta admit, the Primal spell list is in that space where it wants to do a little bit of everything, but doesn't do anything too perfectly. So I understand that a Primal Magus would be difficult to write. That's why I suggested, like, maybe you could have one that buffs yourself and one that does elemental damage, but... I don't know. There's a reason I haven't written any. Well, I just did actually write a Primal casting archetype, but trying to do one that could also melee effectively, that is really difficult. It is a challenge. You and your animal companion. Oh, yes. So Novel Enigmas in chat telling me the main thing with your animal is it lets you cast a spell, 2 actions, and strike with your animal companion, 1 action. So it does have a roundabout way to spell strike. Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I get it now. That's cool. I didn't completely get that through my first reading there. Thank you very much for making that clear. Why isn't my chat updating? Give me 1 second. Oh. There we go. All right. So I have chat there now, so I'll be able to see it. I was just thinking nobody was chatting. All right. So I do have people watching. Excellent. So we're getting into the next PDF here, which is Bear Essentials. So Bear Essentials, I said earlier when I reviewed a bear-themed adventure that if anyone uses a bear pun in their title, I will review their work. And with that in mind, I have to review this. I didn't actually expect to see another bear-themed book so soon. I did, for some reason, expect to see one eventually. I just didn't expect to see one so soon. So, Bear Essentials. Bear Essentials is 20 different bears. One for each level, or 21? Is it 20? They say 20. Over 20. Okay, yeah, 21. 21 different bear-themed enemies. All levels of monsters. So whatever level you're GMing, there's a bear in here for you. Of course, you could also summon quite a few of these. These monsters are well balanced. There's a great assortment of abilities in here. Most of all, it is just a whole lot of fun. There's a bear made of paper. There's two different monsters on that entry. One is just an origami bear that's a level 0, or there's a scroll one that has a spell in it they could use. The albatross is an albatross with a bear head that could steal away items and fly away with them. Patient Bee is a zombie bear that eats brains. There's a bear holder. It's a beholder with a bear head and little eye stalks. It's a beholder. There's a bearware. It's a bear that turns into a person instead of a person that turns into a bear. The bear swarm are several hundred miniature flying polar bears that just swarm all over you and bite. The Hydra Ursa is it's a bear hydra, so it's a bear that grows additional heads. Love it. They have a headless undead bear with some neat backstory. Level 20, they have the Immortal Harbinger of End Times, this large undead bear that rides a huge undead bear. There's just bears for days in this, and I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely going to look forward to using some of these. The Leaping Murder is a martial arts bear, a vampire martial arts bear. There's so many fun things in here. There's a bear made out of smoke called the Burned Bear that hates the flames, so it's literally Smokey the Bear. It's fun, it's kind of silly, but at the same time, a lot of these, I gotta tell you, if my PC saw them, they wouldn't just laugh. They'd go like, okay, this is kind of scary. I mean, bears are scary. You gotta admit it. If anything, it makes a lot of sense that like a necromancer looking to make a strong zombie would be like, why would I use a human? Like, not only is it illegal to use human body parts, and I'll be caught and people will call me a monster, but there's bears. I could just make a zombie bear. That seems a lot better. I mean, they're faster, they're stronger. Make a zombie bear. Why would you go for a human anyway? Alright, so there we have it. Bears, Bear Essentials. It's a bear bestiary. Check it out. I love it. The artwork is right there on the cover. There is no other artwork throughout the book, which was a little disappointing because I would have loved to have seen like the bear albatross or the origami bear. But the descriptions are vivid enough that you shouldn't need them. You should be able to Google up an image pretty easily because there is a lot of fun bear puns out there that other people have made into official artwork. Man, did I already go through all of these already? I need to learn how to talk slower. Alright, so, I guess the only thing I have to do from now, I was just thinking I might only spend 5 minutes on it, and I might still only spend 5 minutes on it. Oh, let me just catch up with everything I did here. So we have Lost Omen's Dragonkin, led by Luis Loza. It's a new heritage, strong heritage option that I love. Novel options. Oh, I go over some more of these. So novel options, Primal Illusion. So just went over the Primalist. I do want to go over some of the other great options this book has here. So they do have a Barrister Lawful Neutral Champion that has lawful authority that does punishment for people who are. It's your champion reaction when somebody's damaging. It does lawful damage to them. Or they become prone, their choice, which I love abilities where people get choices because it gives the GM a chance to really think about, gives the GM a good chance to actually play along rather than just using the monster's tactics. It gives them a chance to really think about what they're going to do. Balance the scales, gives the defender resistance to the triggering damage. But then if the attacker has less health than the defending creature, it also does additional damage. So it helps literally balance the scales between the attacker and the defender's health, which it will usually just do the damage because monsters do tend to have more hit points than players, unless they're lower level, which doesn't... I mean, it does happen. So unless they're significantly lower level, in which case you're probably not going to bother using your champion reaction anyway because you're probably just out there in the fray. Still, it's fun. It's cool. Again, it adds more. All of these, I gotta admit, with all these champion reactions, what I love about them is they give a little more of a mini game to your reaction. I mean, the Liberator does with this extra 5-foot step, but the others are mostly just like you take less damage and I get to hit someone. These are a little bit more interactive than that, which more experienced players are really, really, really going to appreciate. Champion's reaction, flip of a coin, does you have a 50-50 chance. It's a DC 11 flat check. so it's a 50-50 chance that you could use a hero point to reroll. That on a failure, the person that you tried to defend goes prone. On a success, the attacker goes prone, which will lower the penalty to attack rolls and then could therefore cause the attack to miss, which I do appreciate that a lot. Being able to potentially save your ally if they were just barely hit. But where that's going to come really in handy is when they're just barely crit, which does happen quite a lot. Also, of course, comes with new oaths, new smites. Love the flip a coin abilities. If you roll a critical fail in the flat check for flip a coin, both creatures become prone. Is your instigator cause feat. So you could just make it so instead of just your ally going prone, both the enemy and the ally go prone, which your ally still probably won't like that. I do recommend if you want to play an instigator, you should talk to your friends first, but they're probably not going to mind as long as you're potentially saving them from a crit there. The unbalanced scale one makes it so that any creature with the aligned trait, you can balance out the hit points between the two, as long, not only if they have higher hit points, but if they have, they're automatically considered to have twice as many hit points as normal. So you're going to be able to get a lot more use out of that than usual. I hate conjugating the past tense of crit as crit. Critted. Was have been crittening. I'm going to say was have been crittening for you, script, okay? Critted would be ambiguous. Yeah, crittening. Was the crittening. Was have been crittening. Maybe crit is like Latin. I could just do critamus? Critamus? It sounds like either a moose that critical hits a lot or a screen name. Critamus, like Erasmus, but critamus. I'm not going to think about that anymore. All right. You also get some witch. You get some patrons themes. You get a voodoo theme, a draconic theme, a lich theme, and a genie theme. Which great. I love the genie theme. Has that an ally has to wish for something verbally, and then on your next turn you could spend a reaction to aid their next check. So it's a way to single action aid. So if you want to help people, the genie is a great way to go with this witch. I love things that make aid usable, as a lot of writers will forget aid even exists. I've noticed, I've talked to a few writers this in the last couple of weeks who will admit, and they understand that it's not perfect, and I do it too. Sometimes people who write books get into this habit of, if I don't see it being used, I don't see a reason to write for it, which I would actually say the opposite's true. If you see something like aid or feint or in 2E disarm, and you're going, I've played a ton of games and no one's ever used it, so is anyone going to want a product that specializes in it? I think the answer is yes. People will be more likely to want a product that specializes in something that you normally don't use, which I'm going to use as a very quick segue because we have 5 minutes left, and that's the most I ever want to talk about my own products without getting really bashful and shy and running away from the screen, because I don't like listening to advertisements either, and I can't help but say that this is technically an ad. So quick warning, everything from this point on, I financially benefit from directly. So this is theoretically, no, this is absolutely an advertisement. So please, if you don't want to hear me rant about my own stuff, bye. I'll see you on Tuesday for Booster Bestiary, or next Friday so we can talk about other people's awesome products. But for now, I really want to talk about my own. So we're going to start off here on that theme of things people don't necessarily enjoy, and go with Starstone the Ascension. This is my newest Infinity product. It is a simulated trading card game that you could use inside of your Pathfinder game. It has everything. You basically use hero cards to play this very, very simple card game. It takes... I explained it to my players in about 4 minutes, and they were like, okay, I get it. And then it took 5 minutes to play the first game. And that was with looking up what cards did and stuff like that. It's easy to play. It's simple, but there's a level of mastery and back and forth. It was definitely, I could put it this way, it was optimized for drama. I wanted people to play this like it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And based on the play testing, it seems to be going that way. Gives you simple. You use 16 cards from the hero deck. You put the cards face down one at a time. Then at the end of the game, you flip them all face up one at a time, and they do battle with each other or activate their effects. And whoever has a minion in the center of the Starstone at the end of the game wins. That is the basics of the rules. Everything else is just talking about specifics. This book itself comes with history of the game, information about the game. Oh, I wish with all my heart. I am so sorry, novel. I don't get that reference. I wish with all my heart. If anyone there in chat gets the reference to the Genie Witch patron in Novel Options Primal Illusions, I wish with all my heart. Please, I wish with all my heart that somebody would get that reference so I don't have to Google it when the show is finished. Because right now I don't. I feel like I vaguely, maybe. It's going to bug me now until I look it up. Alright, so you get information about the game. Oh, FYI, so this game is from, I just got this in the mail today, this game is from Lost Omen's Grand Bazaar. It was referenced in, I believe, page 93, Starstone the Ascension, that is. Dragon Tales? Maybe? Anyway, it was referenced in the Mary Gleam Toy Shop. It wasn't called out by name, so I got to choose the name. Well, actually, Alexander Agunas chose the name during my game of Pathfinder when I was struggling with what to call it, and that name hit perfectly. It helped inspire some of the mechanics even. So it's a trading card game that is canonically popular in Absalom. I think I was too old to do PBS Kids. I loved reading Rainbow. Script is asking in the chat, were you a PBS Kids enjoyer in my youth? I loved reading Rainbow, and I loved Mr. Rogers. I watched those all the time, but that would have been it. So that might have been before they called it PBS Kids. I'm not sure. To fly with dragons in a land apart. Okay, so I wish with all my heart is a reference to Dragon Tales. Sorry, I don't know that. I might be too old for that. I don't know. Or maybe I'm too young for that. I don't know. The book here for Starstone the Ascension comes with all the rules you need to play. There are like 8 different ways you can play the game, but the base simplified rules are the ones I described earlier. There's also, or the base expert rules are the ones I described earlier. There are some even simpler ways to play it that are kind of optimized for gambling. The idea being like this is what they play in the bars and call it Starstone because it's similar. It's a little easier to play than Towers. Where do I redeem my bonus points? We will talk about your bonus points. Where do I redeem my bonus points? You know, if I ever do become a Twitch, whatever it's called, and could give people points, I will give you extra points, Script. But right now, I am just a tiny little stream trying to get by in the world. So here we have it. Book gives you prices here for cards, booster packs, single packs, the Illuso disc, which lets the fights come to life like a dual disc in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it gives you stats for all the different cards here, which the cards here you get 4 different decks. You get them with cute little art like this. You get them blank so you could draw your own artwork on them. You get them with some old school printed art, old school printer press art, and you get some Lost Hero cards, which I hope, if this sells well enough, to be able to produce some more Lost Hero cards for everybody in the future. For now, there are 18 Lost Hero cards themed after 6 different regions in Galarian, so go ahead and check it out. I had a blast writing this. I have some people asking me to play this on Tabletop Simulator this weekend, but nothing is 100% in stone. But if it is, I will make my announcements on all my platforms as normal, and you could watch me play this with somebody. Oh, and this does also come with, here are some previews of the cards. This comes with booster packs. So if you want to generate a booster pack for your friends, you don't roll dice for every card. You just roll a D100 or D20, depending on the type of pack you buy, and it gives you the booster pack in a PDF like this. And you just throw them whatever booster pack for whatever page they rolled. So I found that incredibly fun. It is 4:30, but I do have to spend just 5 minutes, if that, talking about Legendary Shaman. I am so excited about this. I have wanted to make the Shaman since maybe a month after PF2 came out, and I was approached as part of a team for Bori Kubos. We were approached by Jason Nilsson of Legendary Games, and we were asked, who wants to work on the Shaman? And I'm just like, me, because I was so desperate. Like, I was so happy to have somebody who could look over my work and edit with me and have a team. So myself, Tony Saunders, we worked here on this wonderful Legendary Shaman class, and I absolutely... It was a great experience. It was my first time leading a team. It was my first time in Pathfinder for a Pathfinder project. It was my first time making a base class. I'm so glad to see it out here like this. To quickly go over it, a shaman is a full 10th level, full 9th, 10th level caster that is either primal or occult. You pick it as you get it. As you level up, you get access to spirits. You get one at level 1, and you get one every, I want to say 4 or 5 levels afterwards. And how a spirit is there's templates here for spirits, and you pick one of these templates, like Akashic or Ancestor or Fate or Flame, and the template gives you your granted spells, which you can only cast while you're in a trance. We'll get to that later. Your focus spells, an extra skill that you get proficiency with, and is limited by what tradition you have. You also get to apply an archetype to your spirit. That doesn't have to be a specific archetype. It's not like Flame, for example, has to be Sorcerer. You are free to apply whatever archetype you want. There are some guidelines in a sidebar, like talk to your GM and try not to use these archetype feats. But what happens is when a shaman enters a trance as a single action, they lose the ability to cast their normal shaman spells, but they gain the ability to use a bunch of their shaman feats and cast the spells of their spirit. They also gain the archetype feats that their spirit has in them. They could only trance in one spirit at a time without a bunch of feats. And I love it. It's really flavorful. It's really fun. I love the idea of making your own spirit. So you could say my ancestor, so ancestor spirit, was a lion blade. That's really sweet. I love that idea. Each of these spirits comes with their own unique focus spells. The first level focus spell always has a bless or a cursing. A bless or a curse. A bless or a curse. For example, where's one? Hemopotence. You could either clot your allies as a blessing, so you could stop them from bleeding. I believe it's considered a helpful aid to stop. Or you can make somebody bleed with Fortitude save. And then the Conduit Shaman, that's one of the 3 traditions. It could lay down a conduit. If you play World of Warcraft, think Totem. And it creates a zone around them in which that spirit kind of controls this realm. It's about 15 feet, 20 feet. And then when you cast a focus spell, instead of casting on one target, you could cast on the conduit and affect everybody in there. And these focus spells have been balanced for that, which took way too much time, but no, it didn't. It was totally worth it. Other practices include animism, where you have some object, I guess this USB that I've been jiggling in my hands, and you can channel your spirit through that. You get feats where you can wield it like a weapon, or the best thing about the animist is you can very easily switch between spirits. You just have to drop the item and draw another one, or sheath the item and draw another one. Or you could pick the medium, which gets fully possessed by the spirit, getting probably the best combat benefits if you wanted to do a mixed martial caster. It can't easily switch between its spirits, but it has a lot of feats that are medium specific only that help getting those bonus hit points, making it harder to fall out of a trance, make it harder to get affected by mind affecting effects. Medium can also more easily go into its trance because the spirit is kind of always around, kind of protecting it. So it has a few ways to fall into a trance as a reaction that could even be used when reactions normally can't be used, to come in and block an attack or try to stop a spell from hitting the caster, stuff like that. We wrote just an absolute ton of feats for this thing. The entire thing is, 32 pages long. I really, really am proud of this. I'm proud of the work that Tony did on this. I'm proud of the amazing work that Jason did on this. Love the artwork choices in this book. It's really cool. I just bought my paper copy on Amazon along with all my other Black Friday purchases. That there's how I tend to do Black Fridays. I just spend about 2 weeks waiting for Black Friday, and I don't buy anything until Black Friday, and then I go, fine, I'll look for discounts. Incidentally, if anyone is looking for discounts, Troll and Toad and Miniature Market both have a lot of Pathfinder and Starfinder minis, especially Troll and Toad, on sale. So if you wanted to pick up some blisters and bricks of Pathfinder minis, Paizo has a sale on all digital products. Trying to think if there's anyone else out there that I think that's pretty much it. If you're looking for Magic cards, everyone right now is having a sale on that. Card Kingdom and TCG Player have like a deal where you buy stuff and they give you credit that you could then spend on more cards later. There's some decent discounts this year. Not as many as there were last year, I gotta admit. Last year, I made like a bandit on Black Friday for nerd stuff. This year, not so much, but that could be expected. So, quick overview once again. Lost Omen's Ancestry Dragonkin is a total win. I want to see more people make powerful heritages like this, iconically powerful heritages like this. I absolutely love it. I do love that it was a heritage and not an ancestry, so it doesn't interfere with Samurai Sheepdog's dragon ancestry, which you should also pick that up. They're both really cool. You could probably even do a Dragonkin. What were those called? Draconil? Dragonkin. I gotta look that up really quick, or that's going to kill me. Open file location, infinite, books, ancestries. Dracarin. Yeah, you could probably make a Dracarin Dragonkin and be the dragoniest dragon that's ever dragoned. Then we have novel options Primal Illusion, which once again, 46 pages for like, I want to say $5. Novel, your books are fabulous. They have so much going for them. I love them. Stack them together. Yeah. Theoretically, Script, you can totally stack those together. But yes, check out Primal Illusion. It's great. Love the Mentalist. Want to see a Mentalist in my own game because that class really excites me. Also love the Malice Binder. It's a really cool archetype. I should probably talk about that next week. Here, I want to really quick show Script. Here's the Dracarin. It's an ancestry from Pathfinder Infinite by Kevin Glusing. I discussed two weeks ago. So if you want to check that out, go check out my old stream on VOD or on YouTube. But yeah, you could totally theoretically make a Dracarin Dragonkin, who I suppose... Ooh, you know what would be interesting with that is if you were like a dragon with a mixed heritage. So you were like a red dragon... a red dragon Dracarin with a gold dragon Dragonkin heritage. That would be kind of interesting. Especially if you had a heavy dragon-themed campaign or... I don't know. I could see that. Oh, do want to point out one great thing about Dragonkin that I forgot to talk about. Specifically calls out, if you take this, you totally qualify for Dragon Disciple, which... Fabulous. Like... I'm so happy that was put in there. That was such just that one little thing was just like, oh, thank you. That had to have been in there. I mean, I guess it didn't have to be. A lot of GMs would be like, of course you qualify. You're half dragon. But I'm glad it's in there nevertheless. It's a great little thing. And then yes, I'll talk about the archetypes in Novel Illusions Primal Illusion next week. Along with whatever else gets released since then. Guncaller, it is, if you want to make a gunslinging Eidolon or a bow-using Eidolon, or if you want to make a range-attacking Eidolon, pick up Guncaller. It's great for that. It has some really fun feats as well. Bear Essentials, if you want bears in your campaign, if you're either a summoner or a GM, this has 20 levels of bears. It gives you exactly what it says on the cover, and I love it. The artwork is cute. The book itself is fabulous. 41 pages. Again, I love it. As for my own stuff, yes, if you want a simulated trading card game in your game for downtime, gambling, just something to play between sessions, you name it, Starstone the Ascension, check it out. I will definitely have to be printing out some decks and bringing them with me to PaizoCon so we could play together. And Legendary Shamans by myself and Tony Saunders of Legendary Games. If you want a shaman-based class, I think we've nailed it out of the park. So thank you very much yet again for attending my little stream here. I will be cracking open booster packs to make monsters on the fly on Tuesday at 6 p.m. on my booster bestiary. And then next Friday, we will be doing even more Infinite products. I wish you all the best of luck in all your games. Roll lots of 20s when you want to roll 20s. Roll lots of 1s when it's thematically appropriate and makes the story that much more memorable. And have yourself a